Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today we will be starting our first playlist, and we'll label it 3 tons. 3 ton load of actual cocaine. So this story it jumps off on a strange mission, and this mission was to get this tanker, which carries liquefied whatever the content is. It's a hazmat material. The tanker does have that liquefied chemical inside the actual its tank, but somebody thought it'd be a good idea and a convenient idea to fill it up with over 3 tons of bricks. Now, in order for you to cross any kind of commercial, whether it be vegetables, merchandise, furniture, any type of cargo needs to go through a specific facility in San Diego. And that would be the Otay area of cargo, commercial, where all the semi trucks, anything commercial vehicle would get to go through there and go through its process. Each driver needs to apply for a what they call a cafete in Spanish. Cafete. What's all it is it's basically a PVC ID and it has your barcode information. And that just for you to have access to the facility. So they have a record of not just your passport, but a record of your uh, it could be your driver's license, your medical records, all that in there. Make sure you have all your paperwork. You have to actually have that ID. It's like a badge. So if you were to get into a little situation, say for example, if you had too much alcohol in your personal cabin and you know you're not supposed to cross more than a certain amount of liters, instead of doing the whole process, they'll let you go on your way. You'll take away that ID. So now you have to make an appointment with the proper office at the facility to get that if you're able to get it back. Because they can cancel your cafetti and they can cancel your visa too, depending on your situation to cross the actual border. So that's just one of the ways you can lose it. Another way you can lose it, of course, if you get caught with the load, or if your license suspended, or any kind of reason, they can have that taken away from you, and you can no longer use that facility to get through. So in a prior video, I had explained to Shadow that when you're working down there as a line agent, even as a supervisor, you don't worry about what other people are doing. If you're that concerned, call it in to the 800 number with Internal Affairs. That's their job. They are professional about it. They know what they're doing. So don't get involved. If it affects you personally, definitely make that call. Clear your name. Get your paperwork started because if not, you will get involved in somebody else's business. So you want to make that call. That way, you have your end covered, and the union will back you up 100% after you do that. So when a load is being prepped with that much cargo, with the trouble of actually adding liquefied gas to it, it's going to a designated area. It is going to a designated area where the other people on the other side of the border actually know what they're doing and how they're going to do it and where they're going to do it. And the where is a big key here. And we'll get to that in a few minutes. So that port has it's not a 24-hour facility. It has a certain 9 to 5. It's longer hours, but it's a certain 9 to 5 hour. So you already know what time you're gonna cross and what inspector is actually gonna be at to receive you. Like I mentioned in all my videos, their counter intel is superb. That's the only word I could use. So they sent this tanker fully loaded, 3 tons up north. Okay. First of all, this tanker cannot be flagged because if this tanker is flagged, it's going to be a big red flag for the weight and for the bundles inside the actual tanker. Don't forget that this facility has a scale and has an X-ray machine manned by customs. So when you have to line up this all semis and tankers perfectly so it fits in that gap so it can go into this. It's like an outdoor shed, but huge, and it has all the X-ray technology in there, and the agents see it in their little office. And it's a hard, tedious, boring job. And I'm telling you, boring for the people that are looking at the screen. And it's hard because I did it for quite a few weeks, and you have to line up these trucks so their back of their trailer they're hauling doesn't scrape your X-ray equipment. So it actually has to go in through what I can only explain as like a football goal for the free for the extra point, the yellow post. That's the only way I can describe it. You have to get it through that a certain amount of feet, and it has to fit in there. But you have to set it up just perfect because if you're pulling the trailer and if your back trailer is a little bit to either the left or the right, it's gonna keep going to that position, and you're gonna scrape the whole side of the actual trailer. And yeah, I did it a few times. So you got to be very extra careful. There's little tricks that you could do to just move the back of the actual trailer through the wheels, but it's it's not the very safest thing because it can kick right back at you and just hit you in your body anywhere in your body. So you have to line this up perfect. So this particular tanker came in early in the morning, if not the first actual truck that came by. Now, from what I actually witnessed, not that particular day though, but what I've witnessed when I've had to start an early shift there is the supervisors are actually manning the booths where you come in to show your citizenship and all that. And your next step from there, that's where the supervisors actually can direct you in any direction or they can clear you to go up north. So this tanker came by. Now, the reason I've seen these supervisors because I've been there early. This facility is huge. It's beautiful. Full size kitchen. I mean, showers, bathrooms are heat. Everything's immaculate. Multi level building. So go in there, get some breakfast, get your breakfast, your lunch ready. If you're gonna prepare it, anything you can do in there, it's there for you. So when you see the supervisors just kicking these trucks forward, you don't think anything of it because it's a routine, right? But there's also the human factor. You can plan everything, you can set everything up, you can time it, the logistics can be perfect, but there's always a possibility of the human factor. And that's what happened here. So, not to give out a lot of information, but the K9 units work just like everybody, either an 8 hour shift, a 10-hour shift, or a 12-hour shift, depending on how you do your contract. And I have many contracts, and the best contract I had was 4 days on, 3 days off. But that 3 days, if you work nights, it's going to turn into a 4 day off also. And it's actually pretty cool. But you can set up your schedule as you're allowed to. But You for canines or for any other specialty like the boat unit, the horse unit, the ATV unit, the canines, they all have to actually prepare their gear before they get to the actual facility that they work in. So you're being paid for you to actually get your day going, get your equipment going. So you're already on the clock. So your time already starts from where you're gathering your stuff together. So this one unit for K9 got there a half hour earlier than its intended hour. One story says he claimed that he wanted to hit them trucks because there was a half hour to 45-minute gap that no K9 was being utilized through that time. And he took it upon himself to see if there's anything available to catch or to run. Well, he did. Now, I wasn't there. I wasn't part of the plan. I wasn't on neither side of it. How I fall in, you'll find out later on in a different video. But he claims that the supervisor was involved in kicking this truck forward to go up north. So his dog alerted. His dog's actually going crazy because there's 3 tons in there. So the supervisor, according to this report and according to news articles, and remember, there's about 3 or 4 news articles on this actual incident that can all tell you 4 different types of results. And yes, as confusing as you can see by reading 4 articles, 4 different ones, or 3 or 4, it is the same story. It is the same characters that are involved. And there's a very popular Sunday night, like a newspaper reporting type of investigative type of show on a very large network that was duped. That's the only way I can explain. That was duped and was naive not to cross their T's and dot their I's. Maybe because I have a little bit of insight, I would have caught them red flags, but these are also professional journalists that should have caught these red flags. And we'll go through the actual what the red flags were, but they didn't. They aired it and they made, I'm not going to say they're innocent, but they made certain employees of customs look really bad. Careers were ruined. According to one agent, people died and they died a certain way. And I'm sure that somebody did die that way, but that was connected to this case. I don't believe it. That's just my opinion. I don't believe it because the fact that he was too specific and he had no resources to actually support this type of operation for his title and for funding. Okay. Remember, a lot of informants come at you with the bill of sale. So if they're going to give you info and risk their life, they're not going to do it for free. You have to have some kind of funding. And there needs to be some kind of control over this type of operation too, because it can get out of hand fast and people can get hurt. So I'm going to say that people did die that way and they did die at in some time frame at that location. I'm pretty sure they did. But the actual informants, I don't think they were working for this specific agent. So what ended up happening was that this canine alerted on this semi truck, this pipa, and call it in Spanish, this tanker, and he's going crazy. And the canine actually uh, puts a hold on it and says, "Yeah, it's I got a positive hit." The supervisor says, "Oh, it's probably in the wheels. Let's check the wheels. There's certain equipment, not high tech, but there's high tech equipment to check the density of wheels on vehicles. So if you can see that there's actual packages in throughout the actual wheel, you can actually see. Okay, so I'm gonna correct myself. You can't actually see it, but you can on the density, on the reading on density, you can actually see if something is blocking from one end of the tire to the other end of the tire. You can actually see the readings, and you got to get them calibrated. So it's a whole process, but they actually work. So they did that, and K9 said, "You know what? These tires are empty. There's nothing in the tires." Supervisor's still adamant that there's something in the tires. They dismounted some tires, took the rim off with no results. It was empty. So supervisor still wants to kick this vehicle forward. Now hours have changed. Hours have changed. Okay. Hours have been exchanged back and forth. Hey, let's do this, let's do that. So everything's out. Nothing's final yet. The driver is up in the office. He's being held. The driver gets After a few hours, the driver gets set free along his way back to Mexico. Now, if I was that driver, I'd be on the north side. Well, because what's you're going to be getting down south is no good. And what was waiting for him was no good. Now, this driver here, he was key to the organization because he had a license to drive hazmat material. He had experience driving, and he was trusted with the knowledge of that cargo. He disappears. We'll get to what happened to him afterwards. It's like you said, it's no good. It's no good for him down south. He should have just came up north and been under when there's protection. He would have qualified too. So after a few hours, they decide to call in hazmat. They got to drain all that liquid chemical in there. Got to take it all out, and you just can't take it all at once. It has to be done in a process because of the pressure, something getting frozen, something popping off, breaking off, and it's just a whole process until they open it up and they actually can see the actual packages. So now, still hazmat is involved because you don't know exactly how you don't even know how something's going to react. So they start taking the packages off, all suited up. After they found out that everything was all clear, everything was all good, they had to take every package out manually, one by one, because there wasn't a big hole, there wasn't a big access to it. It was just the stock access, which was not that big of an entrance because it's a tanker. You don't want a big area that can be exposed, that can crack, that can go up with the pressure, right? So it has to be a small enough, like a plate that can be taken off, but no one's big enough to actually go into that tanker and take it off. So you gotta just find a way to get it out. So it's gonna be taking you quite a bit of time to unload 3 tons. So that happened. It was ran through the X-ray machine. You can see the packages. It was ran through K9. There was full of packages in there. They took the plate, the access panel, took it out, got a visual of the packages, took it out, tested it, positive for cocaine. Okay, that's gonna end the actual video. That's gonna end this video here. Okay, we got to that part already. This K9 got there early, stood his ground. That happened, whatever. That's just a narrative of how it went down. Now, for me to say if that tanker would have got across, boom, got to his destination, great. They got the load across. They now they have to worry about taking out the packages. Trust me, they'll have a way to do it. It wouldn't be their first time actually conducting this kind of load. But I'm going to tell you now from my perspective what happened if they would have got that load across. So they would have cleared our facility, would have hit the road. Now you are on state property. Okay. It is San Diego County, but technically Highway Patrol, because you're leaving a commercial cargo facility, the Highway Patrol still has jurisdictions of where you're gonna go. Okay, so this ends the video, and the number 2 video for this will start from when you're leaving the actual facility on a state street on your way north. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hit the thumbs up. Thank you guys.